Mr. Speaker, our policy is to protect the most vulnerable for 2 years.
She repeatedly criticised Labour's plan for a 6-month freeze on energy bills. This week, the Chancellor made it her policy. How can she be held to account when she's not in charge?
I had to take the decision, because of the economic situation, to adjust our policies. I am somebody who's prepared to front up. I'm prepared to take the tough decisions.
Imagine being in Keir Starmer's shoes as he faces a barrage of accusations in the Commons. Your reputation is on the line, your integrity questioned, and every word you say could make or break your political career. Before we move on, I'd like to ask you a small favor. If you appreciate this content, please take a second to like this video and subscribe to the channel. Over 98% of you watch the videos without subscribing. It costs you nothing, but it makes a huge difference to us. So did you click the subscribe button? Great, thank you so much. Now back to the video. In this video, we take you inside the pressure cooker of PMQs, where Starmer's once promising leadership is put to the ultimate test. Feel the tension rise as we dissect every moment of this career-defining session. Will Starmer emerge unscathed, or is this the beginning of the end? Keir Starmer's fall from grace as Labour's straight-talking savior has been nothing short of spectacular. Once hailed as the no-nonsense former prosecutor who would bring much-needed clarity to British politics, Starmer now finds himself embroiled in a web of evasion and political doublespeak. How did this dramatic transformation come about?
A book is being written about the Prime Minister's time in office. Apparently, it's going to be out by Christmas. Is that the release date or the title?
I have been in office for just under 2 months, and I have delivered the energy price guarantee, making sure that people aren't paying £6,000 bills this winter. Now what, Mr. Speaker? I think, Mr. Speaker, that is more of a record of action than the honourable gentleman in his 2.5 years in the job.
When Starmer first stepped onto the political stage, he was seen as a breath of fresh air. His legal background and reputation for forensic questioning had many believing he would cut through the usual political waffle. Labour supporters pinned their hopes on him, eager for a leader who could articulate their values clearly and hold the government to account. But as the spotlight of Prime Minister's questions has intensified, Starmer's performance has left many scratching their heads. Instead of the razor-sharp interrogations we were promised, we've witnessed a series of meandering exchanges and missed opportunities. It's as if the former director of public prosecutions has forgotten how to ask a direct question. Take, for instance, a recent PMQ session where Starmer attempted to challenge Prime Minister Rishi Sunak. What should have been a moment of triumph for the Labour leader instead turned into a political fumble. Starmer's inability to provide clear answers to Sunak's counterattacks left him looking more like a deer in headlights than a formidable opposition leader. This shift hasn't gone unnoticed by the public. Polls are showing a growing skepticism among voters about Starmer's ability to lead effectively, the very quality that was supposed to set him apart. His straightforward approach has become his Achilles heel. It's a classic case of overpromising and underdelivering, and the British public isn't buying it. But why is Starmer suddenly dodging questions like a seasoned politician? Some speculate that the pressure of leadership has forced him to prioritize political maneuvering over honest debate. Others wonder if his legal training, once seen as an asset, is now leading him to overthink every response, resulting in convoluted answers that fail to resonate with the public.
Starmer government already seems to have hit a few problems. Those cuts to the winter heating payments, plenty of tension on the street.
No, and he got in with a very low proportion of the vote. He got in by default because people were unhappy with the Conservatives. They voted Labour. They didn't particularly like him. He's been accepting more freebies than any other MP in Parliament. But meanwhile, because of their disastrous economic policies, they are cutting payments to old people.
The consequences of this perception shift are far-reaching. Labour Party members who once rallied behind Starmer's banner are now questioning whether he has what it takes to lead them to victory. The opposition's ability to hold the government accountable is compromised when its leader can't articulate a clear position on key issues. As we watched Starmer stumble through another PMQ session, it became painfully clear how far he has strayed from his initial promise. The man who was supposed to bring clarity to politics now seems to be adding to the confusion. It's a stark reminder of how quickly political fortunes can change, and how easily public trust can be eroded. Just when you thought Starmer's PMQ's performance couldn't get any worse, he stepped into a political minefield that would make even seasoned politicians wince. The already tense atmosphere in the Commons crackled with anticipation as the Labour leader, visibly struggling to maintain his composure, found himself face to face with the controversial topic of trans rights. As Starmer and Prime Minister Rishi Sunak locked horns, the exchange quickly escalated from a heated debate to a full-blown parliamentary disaster. The Labour leader, known for his legal background and supposedly forensic questioning, seemed to lose all semblance of control as he responded to Sunak's comments on trans issues. In a moment that left even his staunchest supporters questioning his judgment, Starmer lashed out at the Prime Minister, saying, "Of all the weeks to say that, when Brianna, Gay's mother, is in this chamber, shame. Parading as a man of integrity when he's got absolutely no responsibility." The emotional weight of his words hung heavy in the air, referencing the tragic murder of Brianna Gay and attempting to paint Sunak as insensitive and lacking integrity. But Starmer's outburst, far from showcasing his leadership skills, only served to highlight his growing frustration and inability to navigate the complex terrain of trans rights. His body language spoke volumes. Tense shoulders, clenched fists, and a reddening face betrayed the inner turmoil of a man watching his political credibility crumble before his eyes. As the hostility in the chamber reached fever pitch, it became clear that this was more than just another PMQ skirmish. Starmer's accusation that the Prime Minister was failing to take responsibility for his actions and decisions regarding trans rights marked a critical point in the session. It was a desperate attempt to regain control of the narrative, but instead, it pushed the debate into uncharted and dangerous waters. The situation had become so volatile that even the usually impartial Speaker Lindsay Hoyle was forced to intervene. In a rare move that underscored the escalating tension, Hoyle stepped in to remind MPs that they should focus on questions and answers rather than engaging in organized barracking. It was a stark reminder of how far the debate had strayed from productive political discourse. This intervention by the Speaker turned what was already a political circus into a full-blown parliamentary disaster. It laid bare Starmer's struggle to maintain composure under pressure and his inability to effectively address the trans rights issue, a topic that has long been a thorn in his side. As Keir Starmer's political star continues to dim, the fallout from his PMQ's performance seems to be the final nail in the coffin of his straight-talking image. Recent polling data paints a grim picture, with Starmer's approval rating plummeting to a mere 30%, down from 45% earlier in the year. This sharp decline reflects a growing public skepticism about his leadership and authenticity. The Labour leader's fumbling responses and inability to provide clear answers during PMQs have left voters questioning whether any politician can truly deliver on the promise of straight talk. As the public's trust in Starmer erodes, so too does their faith in the political system as a whole. The incident raises uncomfortable questions about the nature of authenticity in politics and the consequences of failing to meet public expectation. With his political future hanging by a thread, Starmer now faces an uphill battle to regain the trust of both his party and the electorate. The question remains, can he recover from this devastating blow to his reputation, or will he be forever remembered as the leader who promised clarity but delivered only confusion?